Hey everybody, hope everybody is doing well. So today we're doing dragon weigh-ins, and I'm also trimming their nails and weighing and measuring them. Make sure there haven't been any changes or nothing's really gone awry. So I just did Merlin's measurement. He's 21 inches, 21 and a couple centimeters I'm not going to worry about. And now we're going to do his weigh-in because you really want to make sure that you know exactly what's happening with your animals, especially like in my situation, I'm going to be away and they're going to be in the care of somebody else. So if there were to be an emergency, I want to make sure that, Merlin, you got to put your whole body and your tail, buddy. I know it's going to be hard because you are a big dude. So 670 grams on the nose, big man. So you want to make sure that you have accurate weights on everybody. If you're neglecting any maintenance on anyone, whether that's they need flea and tick treatment, or they need nail trims, or anything of that nature, you want to make sure you get that done before you leave them, so there's no issue after that. So make sure that your animals are in the best shape they can possibly be in, like Merlin here, before you leave them in care with somebody else who maybe isn't used to them, maybe doesn't know all of their habits and all of their nuances, and is going to be doing all they can to make sure that they've got basic care. So but in the event that they have to go to the veterinarian, or they have to take them somewhere, or God forbid something terrible happens, have everything written down, so all they have to do is grab it and go. They don't have to read it, they don't have to understand it, but it's available so that if they need care, especially if for some reason your veterinarian that you normally take them to is not available, then you want to make sure that they can get them to an emergency vet who may never have seen them ever before in their life. So the more information that you can compile and have written down for your pet sitter, the better off things will be, and the more of a peace of mind you'll have while you're traveling. So since we're just beginning the vacation season and the honeymoon season, and other reasons why you would normally be gone, this is a good time to be talking about that, just in case you can't take your babies with you. Then you'll be able to have everything written down so that anyone that needs to can understand it. So after I get everybody finished, we will talk about it. I'll show you the paperwork that I leave for my pet carers, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So everybody will hopefully be prepared in the event that they have to go somewhere and leave their babies. Especially, the reality is that a lot of emergency vet care places have very minimal, if any, training with exotics. So that means, Merlin, that means you may have to just take who's available, and any information you can provide to them, the better the care is going to be for your animal, because you're talking to somebody whose knowledge base is minimal when it comes to the nuances of your scale babies. I mean, really, well, if you ever have to see a vet because your vet's out of town or you don't have one near, or whatever the reason might be, the first thing out of the mouth of any herpetological vet should be, what kind of UVB do you use? What is your basking temperature? What is the cool side? What type of feeders do you feed? How often? What kind of greens do you give them? All of these things should come right off the top. Rarely does that happen, especially with a substitute vet or an emergency vet. Okay, they may not even know to ask that, or they might feel it's not relevant depending on what's going on with your animal. But if you have the basics written down, especially their weight, because if they have to provide medication or emergency support of any kind, Most of the things they're going to provide to them are going to be based on weight. Now, they may have to look it up because they don't deal in grams very often, but you're giving them what they need to know. This is how much he weighs. That gives them the ability to titrate whatever emergency medical fluid type thing they might need, IVs, glucose, antibiotics, etc., anti-seizure medication. Any of that, they can go, okay, this is how much they weigh. There's a chart they can go off of in any book they find, so that you know your animal will be getting the right care because you've provided the important part. All right? So we're going to move on to our next person, and we'll go from there. All right, see you in just a minute. Everybody knows Smolder. So Smolder is 17 3/4 inches long. So he's just 1/4 of an inch longer than Ruby. And now we're going to get a weigh-in. I think last time we decided he was 366 grams. And this should be no surprise to anybody. He is now 418 grams, which is wonderful. Not only is that excellent growth for him, but it also puts him smack dab in the normal range, which is 400 to 800 grams. So good job, Smolder. You are a perfect young man. You got all this shed. A little bit is coming off his tail finally. He's going to have this whole back piece to do, probably while we're gone, so that will be very interesting. But he's a handsome boy. He is. And I trimmed his nails before I weighed and measured him. So he is now beautiful. He's had his mani-pedi and we've weighed him. And he is just gorgeous and ready to continue to be his beautiful self. And yes, Smolder. Hi. Yeah, so he's a good boy. He's actually getting calmer and calmer and easier to handle. So that's good. That's my first clue that he's settling in okay. Sometimes if I have a dragon that just doesn't seem to fit for whatever reason, and really I've only had one that we couldn't really rehab who was vicious. I mean, biter, everything. And he had not been abused or neglected in the traditional sense, at least not that we could ascertain. He was rehomed because somebody was moving out of state. And boy, we just never could. I don't know what it was. It was something about the tank, the house, I don't know. But he was miserable. He bit my husband. I mean, it was a problem. So we ended up having to find him a better home, somebody that, you know, was able to deal with some of his stuff. And the only thing we could figure is that he was in a tank that backed up to a wall and actually was in a staggered situation where he was the middle tank. And his tank here was in front of a window, so it may have just been overwhelming in general. We never did really find out, but he was the most miserable dragon I've ever seen. I mean, you couldn't even give him food as soon as and he, unfortunately at that time, I only had from the top tank for him. If I'd had a front opening, it might have been a different story, but everything had to come over his head. And I mean, vicious. As soon as you would put anything, even his food dish, anything near him or down in he went running to bite you. Now, you guys all know how unusual that is in general for a bearded dragon. They're not, they're normally very docile. They're not an aggressive species. So, not sure what happened to him in his life. We didn't get any report that he was that way. So, never did find out. But he was much happier after the move. So, sometimes they're just not where they are meant to be. So that no reflection on them or on you or on anything. It just is. And sometimes you just got to take it for what it is. He clearly didn't belong here. So we found a better place for him to go. And now, happy as a clam. So, yeah. But Mr. Smolder is settling down just fine. And that's kind of what, I always hope to see. Especially since, he had a little bit of ground to make up, not a lot, but he had some other stuff and some behavior concerns, because often when you get a dragon in that belonged to a child, you have some of those kind of issues. It goes with the territory. They usually recover. Now, Smolder was also loved a lot by his person, so that makes a difference. So I think that, you know, he was willing to give it a chance. And that's really all I ask is, you know, give it a chance and see how you like it. If you really hate it, we'll figure something out. But you might find out it's an okay place to be. Right, Smolder? Yeah. So, but imagine he went from 366, you guys, to 418. Nice. When he first got here, he was 346, I think. So that's nice growth in the amount of time that he's been here. So, yes, he's doing a good job. He's coming along. Everything seems to be working. And right now, he's being very calm. But you know this is itchy. You know it's miserable. He's got all this shed going on. And I mean, it's just not his cup of tea. So the fact that he's being so well behaved says a lot for him. So yeah. So he's all set. Beautiful. Nails are trimmed. Happy little guy. Eating well. Doing everything he needs to do. So he'll be ready to go when the pet carer comes by and talks to him and says, "Hi, Smolder, what's new?" Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I had no concerns about his health or his well-being. So, yeah, he's a good guy. All right, everybody. I think it makes it Miss Ruby's turn. So we're going to get her next. So say bye, Smolder. Say bye to everybody. Bye, everybody. See you in the next one. All right, guys. Be right back with Miss Ruby. All right, everybody. So we're back with Miss Ruby. Then I know how long she is. She's 17.5 inches. From her cute little boopable nose tip right here to the tip of her tail. So now we're going to weigh her. I've already trimmed her nails and gotten them ready for her new manicure, which I'll probably do in a video when I get back from vacation. Hold on now. Don't leave. Don't leave, baby. You got to stick around, Miss Rube. Come here. Stick around. Are you sticking around? Because you don't act like you're sticking around. Okay, nice. Good girl. 651. She's 651 grams. And if you recall, she was up to 725 when she was gravid with all those infertile eggs. So she's done quite well. And, you know, limiting her feeders by just 10% did help her. So, and it didn't hurt her. It didn't hinder her in any way. It didn't interrupt her lay cycle. It didn't cause any difference in the eggs. Everything still had plenty of calcium. So yeah. So, and really 10% for her only equaled 2 feeders per feeding session. So it wasn't a lot. So she handled it in stride. And, you know, she's always been a good eater of her vegetables. So that's been really good. So yeah, there's been no problem with her. She's just been going like gangbusters. She's beautiful. She is the queen of the dragons. Yes, she is. Right, Miss Dragon Queen? Yes. So she's just her beautiful self. Looking good, feeling good, eating well, acting well, lots of energy. You know, you just can't really ask for much better than that. I mean, you know, this whole shedding thing she's not happy about. She and Merlin are the dragons that I have that have zero patience. They have no tolerance for shedding at all. The very minute it's ready to come off, they're like, get it off, get it off, get it off, or they'll get it off. They cannot stand it. Finn and Smolder can be half shedding all the time, and they couldn't care less. These two, not so much. So I know she's itchy. I know she's uncomfortable. I mean, her whole upper lip and around her nose is nice and grayed out, so obviously shed there. This whole patch on her back, plus she's got a patch on her tail. So, you know, she's not her happiest self right now. She's not at her most glamorous, so that's frustrating. but she's doing very well, actually. So, yeah, everybody ate well yesterday. In fact, yesterday this group went through 72 feeders, 20, 20, 20, and Finn ate 12. So that gives you some idea of what feeder bills around here run. So, yeah, that's what's happening with this beautiful girl. But yep, she's very pretty, and I'm anxious to see what happens. She had a lot more yellow from the last shed. I mean, her basic coloring went very from light red tangerine-ish to a lot more citrus. So it'll be interesting to see what she does this time. You know, she also has turned 4 this spring. She turned 4 in April. So, yeah, she's just one heck of a gorgeous girl. She really is, huh, Ruby? So, say bye to everyone, Rube. Goodbye. Goodbye, my adoring public. Goodbye. See you next time. Yeah, so that's Miss Ruby. Happy and beautiful. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to get Finn. All right. We will see you guys in a minute. Bye, everybody. All right, everyone. Here is Mr. Finian, who and he's the best for last because he's so calm and so sweet. All right, he is 21.5 inches. And we're going to see what he weighs. I haven't weighed him since winter, so this will be interesting to see. All right, buddy, hold on. All right, you can bob at Merlin if you really feel the need. Here, let me move you up here. That's you in the phone. Do you see how cute you are? Okay, everyone, 604 grams. Nice, Finn. Liking that. Okay, perfect. So everyone has had a manicure and a pedicure. And except I missed one over here. And they've been weighed and measured. Everybody's current. So I think that they're in about as best shape as I can possibly leave them for somebody to take over their care. So yay, all's good there. So, oh, Finian, my love, you're so silly. So, really, we're going to use the whole black beard and everything? Oh my goodness. Somebody ate several pieces this morning of watermelon, who shall be nameless. Okay, it was Finn. And so he's been feisty and happy ever since. Yes, he has. It's his favorite fruit, and he doesn't get it very often. So it was a big treat for today. Hi. Hi. He's like, what are you doing? Anyway, so everyone, everyone's weighed, measured, manicured, pedicured. Now we're going to talk for just a moment about what information should you leave with your pet people. Well, obviously, first thing you should do is give them the name, address, and phone number of where you're going to be staying. That is very important. So, now, what do you leave at home with them? Okay, so I am going to work on this with you. So, let me get this turned around and we'll talk about paperwork. All right, hang on. All right, guys, so here we are. So now this is what I leave for my pet sitter. I mean, you certainly can do it your way, whatever you need, but mine's sort of in grid format. So like you can see up at the top, okay, here's the categories: name, age, length, weight, color, any kind of marks. So like, and across are the dragons. So there's Finian, Merlin, Ruby, Smolder, okay? So if it's Finian, okay, this says how old he is, his approximate hatch date, how long he is, 21.5 inches. He weighs 604 grams. He's gray. Yeah, special marks, he's missing a toenail on his left back foot. Now, their diet, listed here. He doesn't eat dubia roaches, so that's blank. Here's his superworms, his hornworms, what supplements he gets and how often, and any kind of health or behavioral concerns. Here's where I listed that he has a neurological condition that causes him to flip over onto his back, and that he can't right himself and he requires assistance when he eats. So go up to the next column. There's Merlin. He's 3. His actual hatch date is July 1st, 2020. He's a pandemic dragon. He's a whole different breed. He's also 21 inches. He's 670 grams. He's light red-orange color. He's got a few scales missing near his tail tip. He eats dubias once a week. He needs 12 to 14 per feeding. He eats superworms the other time per week, 12 to 14 per feeding. He gets hornworms twice a month. He likes 5 to 6 worms. And here's all of the supplements that he gets. And I didn't have any health or behavior concerns for Merlin. Then Ruby. She's 4 years old. Her approximate hatch date, 17 and a half inches, 651 grams. She's red. She's got yellow flecks in her beard. She eats her dubias once a week. She prefers 16 to 18 per feeding. She has superworms the other time, 14 to 16 per feeding. She gets her hornworms twice a month. She eats 4 to 5. And there's all of her supplements. And I wrote that she was formerly owned by a young child and is skittish around human hands. You must use slow and gentle movements when handling her, and that she laid 87 eggs between September and April. So that if she wasn't responsive or she was unconscious or something, they would know that when she starts to come around, you really need to be gentle with her because she's not really that fond of human hands. And then Smolder, he's 5 years old, 17 and 3/4 inches, 418 grams. He's a deep red color, no unusual marks. That he eats his dubias and his hornworms once a week, and his superworms and then his hornworms. And then he gets his supplements. And I said slow movements and a calm voice are essential when dealing with him. So that's the very first page. Okay. The second page was made up the same way, although this is about the dogs. So everything you need to know about Ginger, everything you need to know about Griffin, everything you need to know about Gina, including their history, how long they've been with us, and what we were told upon taking them, and any medicines that they're on. Also, at the bottom of each page, there's the veterinarian for the dogs, and there's a different veterinarian on the front for the dragons. So all of that's listed, including their phone numbers in case they need to call. Last page here is just a little paragraph on our letterhead, from me stating that this person or the person presenting this form has my permission to authorize any and all life-saving procedures for my animals in the event I cannot be reached. All attempts to reach me should be exhausted before attempting any veterinary intervention that is not urgent. Emergency care is authorized. My phone number, and that I will remit payment for any veterinary care necessary and required during my absence, so that if they can't reach me, they can go ahead and help. Sometimes they won't take an authorization just from your pet sitter, especially if they're not familiar with them and they don't normally bring the animals in. Some veterinary companies just plain won't do it. So you need to make sure that you put something in there saying this person does have my permission. They're speaking as my proxy on my behalf for my animals. And then care instructions, including what to do very first. You notice so it says, make sure Finian is upright. Yeah. How to medicate the dogs, what to do about their breakfast, how to put the greens in the dragon's dishes, and be sure to put calcium on it, where to find it. All of the things that might possibly be important, in order, where the pads are located if you need to replace them, how to remove the soiled paper towels in the enclosure. Notice the very last thing, make sure Finn is right side up before you leave. Yeah. Also, I included a troubleshooting section, which is mostly just nuances of each of the animals, what might make caring for them easier in our absence. So yeah, and then, you know, feel free to give them treats at your discretion. I informed here also that I did provide this information, including the paragraph allowing her to get treatment for them. And last line is a very, very serious thank you, so that she knows how much we appreciate that she's taking care of them so that we can even go. So that's what I leave for my sitter. So, you know, and it's just a suggestion that's more of a guideline. You can leave whatever you want for your sitter that you think is important for them to know. Obviously, if you have an animal with special needs, that's going to encompass even more. So, you know, these are just things that you want to make sure that if they can't reach you or something's going on, that they can still get the information to the vet that your animal needs for its well-being. All right, so I hope this finds everybody well and looking forward to the weekend. So I probably won't see you guys again until I get back from next week. So I will get back with you as soon as I can, though. Everybody have a wonderful week. And thank you all for 250 subscribers. I'm so excited about that. You guys are awesome. I can't even tell you. And not a troll in the bunch. I just love you guys. You guys are great. All right. We will see you guys upon our return. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. And give all your scale and fur babies a kiss for us. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.